Slavery, thing of the past, right? Wrong. There are about 45 million slaves in the world today. That's more slaves than there were during 4 centuries of the transatlantic slave trade. That's 45 million people being exploited on a daily basis. Many believe that the drug trade is the most prominent illegal market in the world today. This is unfortunately very untrue, with the profits made from human trafficking expected to surpass those of the illegal drug trade in just a few years. Humans just like you are sold for labor, organs, and most often sex. Much like drugs being traded as the objects that they are, humans are also traded for exploitation. But the reason behind slavery's rising popularity as an illegal market is dark. While drugs are used once, humans can be exploited over and over again.
This happens all across the world in the dark, impoverished parts of the world with women and children being the prominent victims. But let's bring it close to home. I mean literally. Virginia is one of the worst states for trafficking in the entire United States. Experts say that they have seen instances of human trafficking at every high school in Northern Virginia.
With an estimated 57,000 to 63,000 total slaves in the United States, with between 14,500 to 17,500 being trafficked per year, either in or out of the country, this trade is a low risk with high rewards. Human trafficking is happening right in front of our very eyes, but nobody sees it. So what do we do? Well, we'll get to that, but it starts with awareness. In order to see legitimate change in the world in regards to human trafficking, we have to start at the source of the issue. That is, with people being aware of the situation and aware of how it occurs.
If any of you have an iPhone X, I want you to take your phone out of your pocket right now. For the market price of this phone in the world today, you can buy 11 people and more. That's right, 11 people. 11 people whose freedoms have been stripped and the presence of a soul completely dismissed. It's dark, it's evil, it's hateful.
Human trafficking. We've given you numbers and facts, but what really is it? Human trafficking involves the recruitment, harboring, or transporting of people into a situation of exploitation through the use of violence, deception, or coercion. They are forced to work against their will. Examples of exploitation include forced criminality, forced marriages, and even forced organ removal.
The most common exploitation, however, is forced labor and prostitution. Many students often complain of parents bombarding them with chores or errands to run, and even the social problems you have with your friends. That struggle that many feel is insignificant in comparison to the life or death experiences that human trafficking victims face every second of every day. They are kept hostage.
Imagine a young middle school going girl or boy, 12 to 14 years old. To us, the time seemed effortless, with not much to worry about in the world. Unfortunately, this age is the most common time at which humans are trafficked. But how? See, most of us think human trafficking is getting snatched by someone in a van late at night. But to be honest with you, it doesn't happen like that much. Instead, it's much more real. Many victims are not even aware that they're being trafficked till it's much too late. Traffickers manipulate their victims by recognizing their vulnerabilities and exploiting them. The industry that benefits from this are countless, with over 26 different types of trafficking, massage parlors, nail salons, pornographic websites becoming breeding grounds for exploitation. Around 80% of all sex trafficking victims are forced to watch pornography and are often featured as part of it.
Young teens feeling discouraged about their home life, looking for a better one. People lacking employment opportunities and more. They put on a friendly face, promising a bright future with a high-paying job or new and exciting opportunities. Sometimes they come in the form of a lover, promising a loving relationship and protection from whatever those being coerced are running from.
Not before long, the victims are being asked to do just one little favor. Promise that it'll be the only time you have to do this. By this point, they're trafficked. They're trapped. Living a double life, these victims continue about their days as normal humans like you and me. But a dark secret lies within that they are dying to reveal to someone willing to listen. Recently, there was a 14-year-old girl who developed a relationship with a 17-year-old senior. As time went on, he pursued her and was very kind to her and wonderful to her. But there was one night where he decided that he owed some people some money. He asked her to go have sex with this guy, and then it just kept on going. For the next 3 months, the young man forced her to have sex with 10 to 12 people per night. That's about 900 people.
You see, the reality is that human trafficking is unavoidably dark. It really doesn't feel good talking about it, but how do you think it feels living it? One of the main issues we have is that we don't want to talk about slavery because it ruins the mood or makes people feel depressed. But the reality is that if someone doesn't say something, the nightmare will only continue. You may be asking yourself, why don't these victims run away? Why don't they go to the police or inform someone who can help? Sadly, many humans being trafficked are blackmailed daily into living in silence, with traffickers threatening to expose revealing photos or harm the victim's family and friends if a word is spoken. Even more devastating, traffickers, as touched on previously, are not always strangers. They are most often someone that the victim previously known, such as family members, intimate partners, friends, or acquaintances.
Even considering legal matters, arresting criminals of human trafficking takes responsible doubt and evidence. Unlike with, for example, an arrest for illegally possessing drugs or alcohol, these items are tangible, visibly seen, and more easily arrested for. In comparison, if an officer had pulled over a car in which a person was sitting, forced to be quiet in the passenger seat, as the person of authority spoke with the driver, there is close to nothing the officer could possibly arrest for. This is why human trafficking is so easily overlooked and wrongfully forgotten. If you can't see it, it's not happening, right? This could be farther from the truth.
After hearing about what human trafficking actually is, it's so easy to be left wondering how to help and what's being done. So we have some good news. The good news is that there are organizations all around the world fighting trafficking and freeing thousands of victims every year.
Organizations like Northern Virginia Human Trafficking Initiative, who the money you raised in the Spirit Link competition benefited, International Justice Mission, and Polaris are all fighting the systematic issue that human trafficking has become. With developments like the Human Trafficking Hotline and various computer programs that have the ability to detect instances of human trafficking on the dark web and pornographic websites. In addition to these organizations are working with local law enforcement to help rescue victims and convict the traffickers if they have coerced them.
In addition, there are other organizations like Not For Sale who are working to fight human trafficking at its root. See, human trafficking often starts with poverty, and one of the greatest tools to fighting slavery is actually diminishing the need for it. By stimulating struggling local economies financially, we are able to actually nullify the need for cheap labor. Here is where you come in.
With all the information that has been presented to you today, the most important thing that you could do is share it with others. See, human trafficking is the crime that hides in plain sight. By telling people about this crime, we'll be able to spread the news and everyone will be on full alert. Now it is time to talk about some of the small steps that you can take in order to fight this crime. Thank you for listening, and remember, let's keep the price tag on products, not people.